Chapter 8. This is short and sweet. How I like my chapters. Facilitating a collaborative culture. Page 137 in the book. Your learning objectives are listed there, and they're also listed in this PowerPoint slide. So, culture is the way we work around here. Cultures are formed and changed through a variety of environmental events, leadership, and experiences. This includes dramatic and traumatic events. Something in a healthcare facility, um, like a huge trauma, mass casualty shooting, bomb threat, tornado in the area, those type of things is in regards to healthcare can change the dynamics of a team. It can either make you or break you. It can make you stronger, or it can just cause all sorts of havoc. Um, but yeah, so anyway, but every organization has its own culture. The hospital system that I work for is Wake Med, and on the back of our badge we have our values. And they call it the Wake Way. That is our culture, and that includes making eye contact, speaking to everybody you pass, making sure a visitor knows how to get to where they're going. Very Chick-fil-A-ish type customer service, if you will, whether that person is your patient or not. So that's culture. And you will be able to predetermine how you want your culture in your healthcare facility. So different levels of culture. Page 137 to 138. There are three levels: artifacts, espoused values, basic assumptions, and values. And the book describes those individually. Oh, and it's right here on your PowerPoint also. Affirmative cultures recognize the need for human beings to contribute and collaborate in a positive manner, create and sustain through positive dialogue. Of course, affirmative cultures are created and sustained through positive rather than negative dialogues, and groups that demonstrate a higher ratio of positive language tend to be more open to new ideas, creative, and more productive. I'm reading from page 138. I like this paragraph at the bottom. It starts with, like a pebble dropped into a pond, acts of affirmative leadership, which affirmative leadership is positive emotions and positive thoughts. But it begins with the self, and it radiates out to impact other individuals, groups, organizations, local and global communities. So just as positive actions and emotions do that, they flow like a pebble dropped in the water, and it reaches the shoreline, or whatever you call it. Negative emotions can do the same thing, but you don't get anywhere with that type of stuff. So seriously, the affirmative leadership, the positive leadership in affirmative cultures is where the good stuff happens. Create and sustain affirmative cultures by using positive dialogue, engaging participants, walk the talk. Absolutely. If you're going to say something, uh, what you believe in, that you stand for this, then do it. Creating and maintaining the collaborative culture is an important aspect of any professional organization, especially in healthcare. Very important on the bottom of page 139. Let me see if this mentions it. I don't think so. I highlighted this for myself because these are questions listed for individual, or I'm sorry, for groups and teams, but we could also ask ourselves these questions. Who are we? What matters to us? What do people talk about? Where do they spend their energy? And I'm talking about us, that you can use these for reflection also. So turning the page in the book, positive dialogue. So the slide's going to review this. I don't know exactly where this is in the book, but you can review it. Here's my affirmative leadership information again. Hallmarks of high performing team. So new ideas, expertise, accountability, expectations are clear. That's a huge one. Community of practice, defining interprofessional culture. So that's where I was just talking about, the bottom of page 138. This is important. Again, who are we? What matters to us? How do we talk? Where do we spend our energies? Oh, and this is the last slide. Well, that was short. Defining an interprofessional culture. So let me find this in the book. Okay, I'm not going to. That's fine. So this is the last slide. But while we're here, let me go back and highlight on page 141, a technology enhanced community of practice. Read that. The 12 lead EKG. So much like a 12 lead EKG, what that does is technician, nurse, or whomever will literally put like 12 stickers across your body. They connect a machine with wires to it, and it gives you a view of your heart. It tells you the heart rhythm, your heart rate. If there's anything out of whack, you will identify that with that 12 lead EKG. So they're applying that to looking at a team, and it's a great little section in the chapter. I did highlight on page 143 that as a leader, you really don't achieve anything on your own. Okay, flip the page. 144, just-in-time communication. So effective teams require the flow of communication among each other and between disciplines, especially in healthcare. We've talked about that in this book before. This is an important section in this chapter. On page 145, it mentions when new employees are brought aboard, they are oriented in standards and expectations of teamwork through an 8-hour workshop. Most healthcare facilities in the hospital realm, when new employees are onboarded, that is like a 90-day onboard. So obviously they don't sit in a workshop for 90 days, but there's different expectations with an onboarding process. Communication is very, very critical. Okay, creating a research community of practice on page 146. Collaborative culture is facilitated by organized social events. When I reflect on what makes a team successful, 4 factors come to mind. That's at the bottom of page 146. 147, how do you spell successful collaboration? And I immediately went to that song. Is it Diana Ross who sings Respect? I can't remember honestly, but the RASBECT. So yes, that is essential. Now I'm going to have that song in my head. Value of personal relationships. That is part of respect. Strive to create a positive climate and empowering atmosphere. And so much can go into that alone, as far as inclusiveness, diversity, accepting ideas, being kind, so much to that. Page 149, health information technology. This tool has changed so much for our healthcare system in regards to, instead of having a paper chart that used to be in like 2-inch binders, everybody's chart was in a binder that somebody could potentially walk up and grab it, return it to the wrong floor, not put it back where it goes, leave it in a patient's room, possibly leave it in the wrong patient's room, and then you've exposed somebody's medical record to somebody else. The health information technology piece, especially with devices that fit in your hand, every discipline at a healthcare facility can access what they need. Having stations available for all professions enhances real-time documentation. For instance, a common tool in history taking, such as a history and physical, which is something that each provider does every time a patient visits, that can be shared. That can be shared with physical therapy, nurses, pharmacy. It's all right there at your fingertips for a very smooth, collaborative team effort. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say about Chapter 8. Please let me know if you have any questions.